ready.
Okay.
응답하라 여친. Go to the into the she.
Back to the gang to the Jew. Hey. Whew, Jane. We're wrapping up another school year.
Yes.
Thank God.
Yes.
Well, I really do like them in school, but
It's a mixed bag because
Right.
I'm always so excited when this time comes around
right.
because I just am so looking forward to not having that mad morning rush.
Yes. I am not a morning person,
Uh-huh.
and that has always been in my struggle, but I'm ready for a break.
Yes.
I guess it all makes sense in that way.
And my kids will have like summer camps, but they don't start, they start at 9 a.m., which is a lot better than 7:55, which is when we start school. But I just know that my summer, the first week of summer is going to be me sleeping in and the kids just being on their iPads for 2 hours.
Yeah.
While they still wake up.
Yeah, because they're like turned up to wake up to play.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly.
It was just that they never wanted to go to school.
Yeah. I used to be more, I'm going to have to revisit all our parental controls on all the screens because now that they're older.
So annoying. Yeah.
They're just smarter. You know what I mean? It almost was less of a concern when they were younger.
No, I think that's the biggest struggle I have with Gavin right now, who's 12. He lies.
Oh, yeah. What does he lie about?
Playing video games.
Okay.
So he sneaks his pad, he sneaks his computer, and he plays while we're asleep, and that's why he's dead ass tired. And we didn't connect it until we realized, Adonis was like, we've run out of our data. Oh. And we've never had that problem before.
Yes. Gavin is how old now?
12.
And when did he get a phone?
He does not have a phone.
Oh, he doesn't have a phone. So what is he using data on?
Online video games, playing with his friends.
Okay. On the computer.
But I am very, very thankful he has not asked for a phone. Yeah. He also he's like such a boy in that he just wants to play video games, online video games with his friends and chat with them on that game. But he has no interest in texting anyone. Oh my God.
I think that goes hand in hand with what your friends are doing. So his friends are they kind of on that same
they're
page?
like little nerds.
Okay.
So I'm thankful for that. Yeah. I remember at the end of last school year, and this is where I'm very thankful I have boys. These girls in his class were like, we need everybody's numbers. And they had phones and they were like, wait, we want Gavin's number too. And I was like, oh, he doesn't have a phone.
Yeah.
So how are we going to let him know what's happening?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'll give you my phone. So I got added to this text thread. Oh my God, Jane. This group text was the most annoying. They would literally just text poop emojis.
But
it was nothing.
Not
it was
harmful. Just silly.
Thank God. I mean, I actually was
annoying.
Glad to get a look into their little chatter. It wasn't bad.
Yeah.
And I never really told Gavin what was going on because he didn't care. But I just, so it was nice to see it.
Yeah.
And be like, okay, the kids that he's surrounded with, there might have been they do stupid shit the slang, you're sus, bro.
Yeah.
You're so stupid. But it's not anything so alarming, which, when you watch TV of these little teenagers, you get scared.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm very, very thankful that Gavin is not phone obsessed.
When do you think it will start?
I think that it won't be that he will want a phone. It'll be more that we probably will have to give it to him because of all these
practical,
school activities.
Logistical reasons.
We need to know where he is after practice.
Yeah.
I think maybe the last year of middle school is what we're projecting. Or because I have a friend who gave a phone to her son in 8th grade, and it was it's like a super basic phone and mostly for where are you at? Because he was doing so many activities.
Right.
It wasn't even he was going out and hanging out with friends. It's every day is a different schedule.
Yes.
So they just needed to know, like, oh, today he's not taking the bus, or today he's taking the activity bus.
Yeah.
So it's actually more for us.
Yeah,
I think that's what
agree.
it's going to come down to for us.
How old were you when you got your first phone?
Jane, I don't think I got my phone till, college.
Okay.
When did you get your phone?
That makes sense. I got mine when I was a junior in high school, but also because of safety. And at that point I was driving, and I was driving my sister, my brother, like to and from school, after school activities and stuff. I got my mom's old Nokia phone.
Yeah. What was my first phone? I think it was one of those, I think I had a Samsung. But I do remember like the Razor being a big deal.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I had a phone in high school.
Okay.
I had it
in high school, and it was not that fun because it's literally like
to keep tabs on you.
Yeah, and it was just in the side pocket of my backpack.
Yeah.
Never looked at it or used it. I think I played one game.
Because it was so limited.
Yeah.
Snake.
And then
it's just like a line.
Yeah.
And
then it gets so long, you're bound to lose because it's wrapping around the little tiny screen.
But it's all about that high score, baby, and you're just competing against yourself.
And then texting was a thing.
Do you
remember
it was pagers? Or was that before your time?
I did not have a pager of my own, but I borrowed one from my friend for like 1 week, and I was not about it. I was like, you can have this back.
I think my time was the pagers.
Yeah.
But I never got to have one.
Okay.
So because I wasn't a cool kid. All the cool kids had the pagers, and I was just like a loser kid that didn't have that. But yeah, it was so simple.
Very simple.
It wasn't
simple
even
times.
about. It was, well, I guess the pagers you could send like. The pagers are all about like sending like those cryptic messages where you read with the numbers. Mm-hmm. So it was more like
pali 8282.
Yeah. That's so funny.
But yeah.
Pali.
Right, and then it tells you like the number that it came from. Do you remember when like my dad would get the phone bill and every single phone outgoing and incoming phone call was listed on there?
Yeah,
and he was like, "What is this number that you keep calling?"
And what was it,
Jane? It was like my boyfriend's at the time. Oh, but we were just like calling each other.
So did you get caught?
No, I wasn't doing anything bad, but
I know.
He
but
was just
it
like,
was
"What?"
Like, he was like, "This is your boyfriend."
Yeah, but we would just like always like talk after school or something.
Oh, okay.
But he was like, "Okay, like this is a lot. Like just use the use the landline."
Yeah. Your dad didn't even care. It was you talking to your boyfriend. It was like, these minutes were such a big thing.
Minutes.
And now we don't even care about minutes. It's
no.
Like, we're not on phone.
No.
We're not on the phone. It's data.
Yes. Yeah.
And everything's unlimited. Mm-hmm. Isn't that crazy?
I used to not have an unlimited because when I first got married, I was still on my family plan.
Oh.
And so, you know, Ben had his own family plan and I had my own.
Oh, yeah.
And my dad would send the family like a group text. Here is everybody's data usage, right?
That's Adonis right now.
Yeah, get a handle on it.
We are out of data this week, boys. Whose fault is that? We never had this problem before. I'm like, and you know, Gavin lies with a straight face.
It's scary.
It's so scary.
But you know what? Do you think it's part of it's developmental?
I know. And I know that it's totally normal because we lied.
You know what works is if you tell him, did you ever tell him like, I always know when you're lying? That stopped me from lying.
Oh, well, he did stop lying because we're like, you know, we can know when you get on the internet.
Oh,
we have. But when we say we know when you're lying, that stopped working. He lies with a straight.
It doesn't work anymore.
He's like, no, babe. He played us. He's like, I've lied to them. You know why? Actually, no. Let me. Adonis annoyed the fuck out of me with this. He told me that he told Gavin, if you're going to lie, Gavin, do it
Do
better.
it better. Do it
so
better.
I don't know at all. I'm like, why would you say that? That's a terrible advice.
Yeah.
Now you have no one to blame. But he goes, no, but I always know. I'm like, no, he's gotten away with it for a minute.
Yeah.
I was so annoyed. But the funniest thing,
and that's scary because if you tell him that and then he gets away with
you're egging him on.
Yeah.
You're motivating him. What are you doing? It's gonna backfire. I was so shocked that that's what my husband decided to do.
I mean, you know,
part of
parenting is it's so exhausting. Yeah. Right. So sometimes it's like you would rather look the other way and be like,
let me look the other way.
Kids are gonna do what kids do, you know.
Just give me the chance, bro.
I know. It's like just let me catch you, but we don't want to. You don't want to. You don't want to fan the flames, I guess.
Actually, you know what's funny about that? I think I have. You ever taught your kid to lie?
No.
I think I have, and it wasn't that I intended to, but okay, Jane, if we're for real. Okay, I don't know that I taught him to lie. You said now I feel judged. I don't feel. You were like, no, it hasn't, absolutely not.
No. Purely because it hasn't come up yet.
Okay. No. The reason it's come up is there's a little bit of an age gap between Gavin and Sawyer. Mm-hmm. Gavin is 12, and he totally feels like a moody teenager. What's the cutoff? It's 13, right? 13 is the teen.
So he's a tween.
Gavin's like practically there. Mm-hmm. Also, he stinks. I'm like, ugh. And Sawyer feels like my baby. He's still. Actually, one of my friends said it had a really good description for them. He's like, you've got a moody teenager and boss baby. And I'm like, oh my God, you're totally right.
Yeah.
So he is just like, they used to be so inseparable and glued together. Now Gavin wants his own space.
Of course.
And my little Sawyer is like so sad. But the thing that happens is now that Gavin's in middle school, he has a different schedule.
Yes.
And Sawyer gets off early on Wednesdays and has all this time.
Yeah.
He comes home at like 1:50, right?
Yeah.
And Gavin doesn't get home till like 5. Mm-hmm. So there's like this huge, because Gavin has late start. So there's this huge window of time where Sawyer's like, I'm bored. Yeah. When is Gavin getting home? And I was like, okay. I'll let you watch a show.
So cute that he looks for his brother when he's bored.
Even though they like fight like dogs lately.
Know. That same with my Ruby is
I'm like, when
is Oppa coming home? Yeah.
Nonstop. When. So I said, you know what? You can watch a show. Or play video games for a half hour. But don't tell your brother. Because if Gavin finds out, then it's like he's very like, what? Why does he get to do more than what I got to do? And it's just like, he won't let it go. And I'll just hear this nonstop, right? So then Sawyer says to me, so you want me to lie? And I'm like, is it lying? So I tell him, I just feel like Gavin doesn't need to know everything you're doing.
Okay, you're setting a precedent. And so smart of Sawyer and perceptive of him
so
to
he was like, so
filter
you want me
that.
To lie.
Yeah,
I'm like,
basically.
Okay, but Jane.
No, I understand you. I have done that. So I've done that with my kids where, let's say Bennett and I got to go do something. And I said, okay, we're just going to keep this to ourselves. But he can't keep it to himself because
he wants to brag.
Yeah, he's like, he'll allude to it, right?
Yeah, it's so annoying. Yeah.
Eventually they'll spill the beans, and then Ruby, who has a very strong nunchi and sense of justice, so she'll call me out and say, "That's not fair." Yeah, I want that too.
It's very tit for tat. Like, I want everything that he's got going on. And I tell Gavin, like, Gavin, when you're home early for whatever reason, you get to do shit too. And he's like, no.
So, here's where I get a little bit worried. And this is the reason why we haven't done it yet, is given Bennett a watch. And remember I told you.
Oh, iPhone watch?
Something like a GPS watch or something where he can communicate with us and where we can track him. But I'm scared that Ruby will then demand the same privilege. And so until I work that out, we're kind of pushing it off as much as we can.
Has he asked for it?
He has mentioned friends that have it.
Have the watch?
Mm-hmm. And so I'm okay with him going out with his friend that has a watch. Because I'm like, I'm going to get the fringe benefits.
We can get one of them.
Yeah. And I'm like, he can communicate with his mom and I can communicate with his mom.
Yeah.
So it's on the horizon, I think, for like phones for us, several years. I mean, we want to push it back as much as we can.
How will you explain
until high school
to Ruby?
I know. It's so scary. She's boss baby too.
Yeah, she has you on a chokehold sometimes.
Yeah, we'll probably have to explain to her like this is a privilege that comes with
when you're in middle school.
More responsibility. Yeah,
that's true.
But also, it's not. Your kids are not the same, right? So I don't think Ruby will be where Bennett is when she's the same age, if that makes sense.
Yes,
yes. Yeah. But going back to the phone topic, we didn't have this issue when we were kids because it was so new. So there were no rules or regulations. Plus, you just had the phone. It was purely a communications device. There was no social media on there. Yeah. But there are middle schools across the country and here in Seattle that are enforcing phone bans during the school day.
Oh, I love it.
And creating like a quote unquote cell phone free zone. And they have to, like, have you ever been to a concert where you have to lock your phone into one of those pouches and then you need a special tool to get it out? So they're doing that because, I mean, how else would you enforce a ban of individual devices?
Even when I play tennis, if your phone rings, you get point penalty.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you have to have your phone off. But even I'd imagine even if it's not technically called a ban, like the teachers probably are like no phones.
Sure.
Yeah. So it's probably standard protocol, but I love it. I think they should do it just nationwide because it would alleviate the pressures for us parents that don't want them to have a phone yet and be like, well, what's the point? You can't even use it.
Right.
So that would be nice, actually. I'm all for about that.
Yeah, I was too initially. And the only thought that I have is in the case of an emergency.
That's, I know, with the now that I think about it.
They're so quick to ban phones in the school, but how are you going to stop guns from,
I know,
getting on campuses?
And you've seen like those situations where the kids have sent their like last phone call to.
Yeah, I know.
I can't believe this is the world.
This is the world that we live in.
Like you never. When we were in school, we never did a school like a drill,
like a lockdown drill. No,
you never did that.
No, and I forget what. So they have all kinds of terms now to talk about it in a less scary way. Bennett called it a reverse evacuation.
What?
He said, we had a reverse evacuation drill today. And I was like, what is that?
Why is it called that?
Because instead of leaving the building, you stay in the building and you lock the door.
Oh, my gosh.
So I said, that's a lockdown. It's a lockdown drill.
Why don't they just call it a lockdown? Does it sound scary?
Maybe it evokes like certain feelings.
Wow.
But I'm like, what other situation is there where you would have to stay in the building?
That's so scary.
Yeah.
I mean, it's terrifying it really breaks my heart that that's what we've come to in this country, that we can't protect our children. Like school is not a safe place.
Right. Yeah, I have friends who live in Canada and they'll ask me, how do you send your kids to school? Like how do you Americans send your kids to school every day?
That feels like judgment.
Well, I mean, it's like, I don't even know what to say because it's like you just do. But sometimes like any sense of security you have is just a false sense of security. I mean, the school, the administrators will tell you, like, the school is locked, during school hours. There's no entry.
Yeah, there's a lot of security
protocols. A lot of the high schools are open campuses. Here in Seattle, too, like Garfield High, where there was that recent shooting.
But, I mean, we can't live in fear. We still have to live, And I mean, it's sad because I feel like this is something we should be able to change, but the capitalistic nature of guns in this country will never allow that to happen. I don't know.
Yeah.
To be fair though, anything can happen on any given day.
That's true.
I mean, okay, I don't know if I told you this. So, I live in the woods. The way deep in the woods where houses aren't like close to each other.
Yeah.
And no, there's no cookie cutter house. All the houses in my neighborhood are like older houses and all very unique. And they all have a lot of space. So there's a lot of pathways and a lot of room. So one of the days, I was tired of the kids being on their devices, and I try to make it like, okay, did I tell you this story?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, this is a good one. I keep seeing like, get your kids off of the electronics, and I always feel guilty about it.
Yeah.
I mean, every parent I feel like does.
Sure.
And, it's the easiest tool to say, okay, we cave and let them watch a movie or play games or whatever. So one of the days they were home, and I said, hey, the day was like nice. I need you to go for a walk.
Yeah.
Because we live in a beautiful woodsy area. And my really good friend, lives up the hill. Drive-wise, it would take only a minute. But walk, like, it would probably take solid 15 minutes to get to her house, right?
That's great.
I was like, this is perfect. Yeah. And I felt like such a good parent. I was like, okay. And they were like, why do I have to? My friend, her dog had passed.
Oh.
So I wanted to send her some sunflowers.
Yeah.
And I was going to drop it off. I was like, no, why don't I make the kids do it? So I put it in a vase, and I said, go take this up to, they lost their dog. This is like a perfect thing that'll cheer them up.
Yeah.
They were like humming and hawing. That's so far. I'm like, do it. I made them go do it.
Yeah.
And I was proud. But then, so there's 15 minutes going up and then 15 minutes coming back, right? And Gavin's 12, Sawyer's 8, and I made them wear bright clothing. And there's a wide pathway. So, rode up the hill, broad daylight, good lighting, middle of the day. I thought it all out. I was like, this should be good. And then they didn't get back yet, but I was like, okay, it's okay. Like, don't be a crazy parent. Like, they're due back any minute now. There was a split second where I thought, but what if something crazy happens? Yeah. Right? And I was like, but you can't live like that.
Right.
Then as soon as I had that thought, they blast through the door, and he goes, Mom, we almost died.
Oh my gosh.
And at first I was like, ugh, they're being dramatic. Yeah. What? No, they literally did almost die. So the road was a little bit wet from the day before.
Oh no.
It wasn't raining today.
Yeah.
But the day before it was, and we have a lot of trees, so it doesn't dry up quick. And apparently they were walking uphill.
Yeah.
And I also, sent them flowers with the vase with water in it. And I said, don't drop it, okay. Apparently a delivery truck was just speeding downhill and they were going uphill.
Yeah.
And this truck slipped, crossed over.
Are you kidding
I'm not
me?
Even kidding. Crossed over the lane and got in, they're going uphill. It's the opposite lane, right? Ooh. Crossed over, swerved over, and hit a mailbox on the side that they were walking on, but almost came crashing to them, and they had to back up. And Gavin was telling me, I told Sawyer to back up faster. And then Sawyer's yelling, because I was holding the vase and I didn't want to drop. Mom said, don't drop the vase. And I was like, terrifying.
What did you do?
I
just
cried.
Hold them?
No, they were so angry. They were shook. They were so angry. We told you we didn't want to go out. Yeah. We almost a truck. And not even like, it wasn't like a van. It was a like one of those big trucks. Yeah. He almost hit us, Mom. And then we went back. I mean, I believed them, obviously.
Yeah.
And I told my friend that I sent the flowers to. I was like, oh my God, they said that this just happened. Yeah. And my friend was like, let me go look. And she says, oh my God, yeah, this one of the mailboxes is completely wrecked.
Oh my gosh.
And you could see the tire mark. He had completely crossed over. And you know,
did you report it, or did they know what like it was a UPS tried to get some, or
totally coincidentally? Okay, this is, tell me if, when I heard this, I was like, what are the chances? So I put on Nextdoor, this happened to my child, but they didn't have any. They was like, the van wasn't, or it looked like a delivery truck, but it wasn't marked.
Okay.
They couldn't get the license plate. And, you know, I don't expect them to. So I was like, it's okay. They didn't know what the driver looked like. Yeah. Nothing. So I put it on Nextdoor like, hey, this thing happened. Because I felt like people should know.
Absolutely.
And I said, I don't know if anybody has a Ring camera that could have caught this. But this happened at this time. If anybody saw anything, please let me know, because this is so unacceptable. But I didn't think that we would get anywhere, only because these driveways are long. Yeah. So if people have a Ring camera, like even we do, but it's typically right in our area and not, the driveway alone is like a minute walk, right? So it's like nobody's going to put the camera on like the road, I thought. So, you know, people just felt bad, and they were like, yeah, there's been some reckless driving. And I thought, okay, didn't think, you know, it's unfortunate that I can't report this. Yeah. Well, Gavin was on the bus, and I guess they passed by where this happened, and he was talking about it to a friend. And he sits in the front of the bus, and the bus driver was like, hey, that was you? And he said, yeah, that happened to you? I caught that on my camera.
Oh my gosh, no way.
It was her mailbox.
No way.
That got busted. And the reason she had a camera on the mailbox itself.
That's smart.
Because she's gotten mail theft.
Okay.
So he told me that she said that she got the license plate and submitted to the police.
No way. Yeah. That's, wow.
Yeah, so I was like, what are the chances? But, oh my gosh, that made me feel so bad, so guilty. Yeah. Now I'm afraid
feel so helpless,
and I was inspired, you know, by your story of like going with
letting Bennett go with his friends.
But you know what I mean? I was like, that's a great idea. I love that.
I know, but even every time I do that, I am not at ease at home.
Right, because anything can happen.
Anything can happen. And again, there could be reckless drivers just on the street, you know? Well, so I'm always telling them to keep an eye out. But all of that is like, you can say all that, and you have to like pray for their safety, because anything can happen.
After the shock wore off, I will say this.
Oh my gosh, how shocking.
This is the greatest lesson of your life. Like when I tell you to look around and always be alert, especially when you're walking outside, this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah. But that will be a lesson that they take with them their entire life, and they will look out for each other.
I hope that was the best thing that we could take away from that, other than being absolutely fucking terrified. But you know what's crazy was like in that split moment where I was like, I had this everything's, and then I randomly remember the story. I don't know if you heard this. There was I think it was in Redmond, it was an Indian family, and the grandmother was walking the grandson like in a stroller in the middle of the day, and a reckless driver just killed them both. And I was like, gosh, there could be crazy things that happen. It like scared me. Oh yeah, but that could happen, right? Yeah, you can't live in fear.
No. I
mean, anything could happen on any given moment.
Right. I mean, all you can do is equip them, and
I felt so bad. Though.
Yeah.
I was telling Adonis how I felt like such a terrible parent because they really did not want to go. And they kept saying, you made us. We told you we didn't want to go. This is, you want to hear another story of, this one is more lighthearted.
I hope you, going back to that, just before we leave that topic, I hope you had that conversation with them. Like this, of course, like I could not have anticipated this happening. Right. I'm so glad you're okay.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, but I still think it's good for you to get, time outdoors. And that was my intention. And it's so good that you looked out for each other. Yeah. Gavin, it's so good that you looked out for Sawyer. And, you guys were there for each other when you needed it. But
I told them I'm very proud. Like you guys practice being alert, being safe. This is what brothers do.
Oh my God.
I think after they were so angry with me and angry for a little while. And I felt that was totally fine. They're shook and they wanted to release their.
Sure.
I said, it's totally understandable, but this is like a really good life lesson. Speaking of another scenario, yesterday, this just happened yesterday. We have a neighborhood pool, and my friends wanted to take the boys. And Gavin is like humming, and I don't want to go to the pool. Sawyer did want to go. Mom, do you know that? Like, do you know how many people pee in the pool? It's disgusting. And when you smell the when you smell the chlorine a certain way, that means more people have peed in the pool than you know.
So your boys are making really good cases to just be on their screens.
Yeah,
all
they're
summer.
like, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
He made it like he would not stop talking about it for like an hour. And we finally were like, you know what? You're going.
Yeah.
Period. Go. Goes, right? Me and Adonis rally. We're like, you're just going.
Yeah.
Not even like 5 minutes later, we get a text from my friend. The pool is closed because somebody pooped.
Oh my gosh.
Me and Adonis.
You're not winning against Boss Baby.
We got the we saw the text at the same time.
Yeah.
We just keeled over laughing. We're like, what? I told Adonis, we are never going to hear the end of this.
You're not going to hear the end of it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Gavin came back. He was so amped to be like, somebody pooped in the pool. What did I tell you? What did I tell you? I told you the pool is disgusting.
Oh my gosh. I'm not ready to have my kids say, I told you so.
Oh my, I'm getting it all the time, Jane. Left and right. Sawyer's in my face all the time. See, what did I tell you? You're wrong. Oh my God. I told, I don't know. I can't win.
Yeah.
I mean, what are the
Parenting,
chances?
I know. Slim. Maybe not that slim. Maybe there's poop in the pool every day. I don't know.
And they can't let me have the last word. So I said, well, maybe it was like a baby.
Yeah.
That couldn't control. Yeah. No, because they don't allow babies on that side of the pool. There's a mini pool for the babies.
They're so smart. Your kids are too smart for you.
I'm like, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's constant.
Yeah.
Just back talk.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Jane, we've said this before.
You cannot let them have phones or social media. Like, it's just going to amplify.
Yeah. I could never even imagine looking back at my parents with their
right.
Like, lower your eyes. How dare you look?
Yeah.
Did your parents ever say that to you? My parents were always.
Yeah, I mean, you did not look them in the eye.
Yeah, directly looking them back in the eyes.
So then, like, it was such a weird, like, culture shift, right? When the teacher would yell at a kid, she would always say, I need you to look at me. Look me in the eye.
Oh, interesting.
And I just thought that is so weird because you don't look people in the eye.
Yeah. Yeah, in our culture, it's like, my mom would always say, 너 어디다 대고 눈을 까부르고, like look right at me. How dare you? Wow. I never thought about that, though. That's interesting. Like, look at me when I'm talking to you. Wow.
Yeah.
That's different. That never occurred to me. Can you imagine?
Well, it's like a sign of disrespect if you're not in American culture, if you're not looking,
rolling their eyes, when whatever, mom,
mm-hmm.
right? That's fascinating. I never even thought about that difference.
But my kids, they stare at me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They got that. Yeah.
They get their eyes bigger and they look like they're ready to fight.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes every ounce of like self-control to be like, don't be like your parents and be like, how dare you look me in the eye. I'm like, I understand you're mad and you're in the right. However, I do sometimes though. I don't know. There's a fine line with gentle parenting, but there's also like, I think it is a tool to know. You're already laughing. Why are you laughing?
Because I saw a thread online the other day, and it was like, gentle parenting doesn't work because all these kids are little shits. And
yeah, it's true though. But
it's like, I know kids who are gentle parented, and I'm like, they're not.
They don't know how to behave.
No.
So I understand. I mean, and I encourage, okay, feel your feelings. It makes sense to me. You're upset. You're in the right. And I do all that. However, there are times when they are just little shits.
Yes.
Just fucking little shits. And I feel like I get it, but also like you need to like listen.
Yeah.
I think there needs to be a balance. Like, so sometimes I will lose my shit and be like, hey, I'm not your friend. I am your mother. I'm not Kim Kardashian. You know, Kim Kardashian to me looks like she wants to be best friends with her daughter. Like, and her daughter is like 13 or something.
Yeah.
She already looks so grown. And I don't know. I didn't even read the article, but like she invited for her daughter's party, she invited some rapper. And I'm like, what are you doing?
I think it's good. I mean, like parent them when they're young. And then when they're an adult, you can be friends.
Yeah, that's fine. But like they're 13, 12, whatever. Like, why are you already blurring the lines of your, it's the time where children feel, they may rebel.
I really think children need that. They need the structure.
Yeah, and they need the boundary because that's where this is the stage where they test the lines. Yeah. And if they see that no lines are there, they're just going to go. I mean, you see, especially I think in celebrity children, they've said it themselves, like Drew Barrymore, like, I didn't have a parent, and she got into drugs so early and all this stuff. Balance is the key to life.
It is.
I'm a gentle parent 80%. But the other 20, I'm going to go.
Yeah. No, other 20 is like all the, I know it's all the generations above us, the mothers inside of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have that switch too.
It doesn't turn on often, but I think it's okay. It's like a cleansing, like you need a reset button. Like,
you do need a reset.
Like, okay, you think this is all right. And then just, no matter what we do, they're going to get fucked up.
Yeah.
I mean,
they'll need therapy
degree.
No matter what.
Yes.
They'll need therapy no matter what. They'll have issues. And,
I will try my best.
Yeah.
But they're going to hate us to some degree. That's just the role that we have. And then, there'll be waves or whatever of them resenting us. And hopefully we get to a place where like, oh.
You did the best. They did the best they could. Yeah.
I hope to get there.
Yeah.
And then when they're like fully grown adults, I hope to have a glass of wine with them. Actually, Gavin already had a glass of wine. Not
a whole
on purpose.
glass?
Not a glass, not sip of what he thought was his water. That sounded awful. He had a glass of wine. If we take a soundbite out of this, I'm going to get canceled immediately. No, he had a sip and he was like, ew, why do you drink this stuff? I'm like, you're right.
That's
Don't
why.
ever drink it.
Yeah.
Ugh. I gotta go. Jane, did you hear my belly? Like,
Mine was too. So,
all right, let's go have lunch.